Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the gaming tier of Patreon. Today, we have two discussions to have revolving the gaming industry, and I thought I would just cover these two so that hopefully this video is shorter than the previous versions that we've had. Not that they didn't have useful and good information in those videos, but I wanted to make sure that I wasn't taking a ridiculous amount of time in editing. So, with that said, we're going to get started with our first topic. So, I came across an article on Game Industry Biz. Sony reportedly closing PS3, PSP, and Vita digital stores. Online storefronts said to shut down in July and August, leaving no way for people to buy digital games or add-on content. Now, this is kind of important because I have a couple of PlayStation 3s. One is a bit of a problem because I bought it used and it overheats, and sometimes I would be able to play my movies for a whopping 2 minutes and then it would shut down, and other times I would be able to sit down for long stints of time being able to play a video game. And more recently, I came to acquire another PS3 that actually works a lot better, and I haven't had the opportunity to sit down and update some of the games that I enjoy playing, like Gran Turismo 5 and 6, because both of those I have for a PlayStation 3, and I don't have an updated version to be able to play my beloved Gran Turismo series. So, given the fact that there are a lot of scalpers right now taking all of the PlayStation 5s and the Xbox Series X and S off of the markets in favor of mass profits, I am not looking to acquire any of those consoles anytime soon to play the new Gran Turismo games. So, this is obviously not surprising. This happens a lot when it comes to the console generation, that once you sort of move forward in time, games are no longer able to be downloaded, and any strictly online games, unless they've added functionality for those newer consoles, means that the console players of old are no longer able to you know play the games that they really love and enjoy. And it's kind of unfortunate because it means that people will be forced to go buy physical copies of games, and that can also put you into a bit of a financial snag, as some of those retail copies are difficult to come by nowadays. You can't necessarily resell them like you used to be able to because there were exclusive codes, and this just shows that Sony just does not care about the legacy players. They're looking for more and more profit. And this is just sad because that means that now my PlayStation 3 will become a glorified DVD and Blu-ray player. Now, Young Yi also talked about Sony shutting down the various stores for the old consoles, and of course that means Sony is facing a lot of backlash. But what I found interesting was another article incidentally written by someone at Kotaku. So-called pirates are doing the work when publishers fail to preserve their games. In this article, he discusses the fact that the stores are being shut down on older consoles, that Sony hasn't responded to Kotaku's request for comment. The internet discourse around this potentially troubling news immediately began to swirl. and it means that players will be unable to purchase new digital games. And while there aren't yet concrete details about what, if anything, is happening, the rumors have many PlayStation gamers understandably worried about the continued viability of their digital purchases rather. Now, he continues on to talk about over time game discs can be valuable collector's items, making it harder for people to track down a copy, let alone to afford it. You've looking at the rise of digital only games and the fact that people aren't looking to buy PS3 games because your hard drive space is only so much, the connectivity to the internet is only so fast, and that could cause a problem in the way of getting the various games. And even then, if the stores stay up, there's no guarantee that the company running it will let you play your old digital games on your latest hardware, such is the case with the PS5, which has a small list of PS4 games that don't work and which doesn't play PS3 games at all. A small number are played on the PS Now, which isn't the most enticing prospect. The Switch doesn't support old digital Wii games either, and this lack of backwards compatibility leaves digital collections stranded on their original platforms. Then he starts talking about an interesting case that I thought I would bring up. What you might be noticing is that the true villain of video game preservation isn't expensive physical media digital stores or ailing old consoles. It's game publishers that only concern themselves with generating profits and do little to nothing to help preserve their creations for future generations. The thing is, it would often benefit them to do so. Take the case of No One Lives Forever, a classic shooter published in the year 2000. At the time, it was a critically acclaimed hit, but years later, after physical copies dried up, and with no digital release to be found, it became impossible to legally obtain and play No One Lives Forever on modern PCs. In 2014, Night Dive Studios, a publisher-developer dedicated to reviving old games, looked into bringing No One Lives Forever to modern storefronts. It discovered a complicated web of corporate ownership, with companies like Activision not even sure if they owned the rights. Finally, months of investigating, negotiating, and talking to lawyers revealed that Warner Brothers probably held them. When Night Dive proposed a licensing deal to Warner to bring the game back, one which would have cost Warner Brothers very little, the answer was no. Warner Brothers had no interest in publishing No One Lives Forever or working on the IP with anyone else. That was that. A beloved classic PC game was left dead in a ditch as a big company sat around guarding its corpse. Nobody could play it. Well, not quite. You see, you can play No One Lives Forever right now, but not because of Warner Brothers or Activision. Instead, you'll have to break the law. This is a very interesting situation where now there are so many people who want to play old games that they used to love, and because they're not able to do it on the consoles or platforms that they were originally released on, people now have to use ROMs in order to gain access to some of these games. While GOG has a plethora of games alongside other major game platforms like Steam and Epic Game Store, they don't have everything. So even if I wanted to play old school Lode Runner or Montezuma's Revenge, both of which being platformy types of games that I used to absolutely enjoy, because there is no update and because they're like ancient, games, it's virtually impossible to find those titles unless someone remasters them or unless I play on some kind of ROM. And so, effectively, the article is making the point that it is possible that Sony is kind of feeding the pirating market by not allowing accessibility of older games to continue use. Now, if it's a straight online game, I understand. If it's, a single player game that doesn't require a zillion updates or anything like that, I fully feel like we should be able to have access to those games and not, be sort of cut off, especially as a person who owns a PlayStation 3. I don't have a PlayStation 4, I don't have a PlayStation 5. I'm not going to be able to play anything on those platforms at this point in time. And at the moment, while the PlayStation 5 is the latest and greatest, there are so many scalpers that it's virtually impossible. But then you also consider that there's not as many PlayStation 4s available because people cannot get their PlayStation 5s at the moment for the exact same problem. So it means I wouldn't be able to upgrade for quite some time. But it's an interesting idea that the game industry, along with the publishing industry, is rife with pirators and modders. Why not make it so that your newer platform, your PlayStation 5, you enable some kind of like mod support or something like that where you can bring forward games, even if it still has like some of the older graphics. Like, you would be able to still make a good amount of money for people who have these older consoles. It's not going to light the world on fire, certainly, but Sony is making a lot of money. I don't understand why they wouldn't provide some kind of options for people. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. You let me know what you think. Do you think that this is a good thing for Sony to do, a smart move, or do you think they're just trying to feed the jerks who are scalping all kinds of money by buying thousands of PlayStation 5s and not even stopping them from doing so? So consider that. Just saying. So the second thing I want to talk about is a very big issue. At least for me, it's a very big issue. And I know that many other gamers will feel the same way. And that is, there is a rumor going around right now that Microsoft is in talks to buy Discord, the platform, and I don't like it. I don't like it, but I want to go backwards a little bit. In the beginning of the month, on March 8th, I came across an article from The Gamer. Discord tripled revenue with subscription access last year. So, Discord allowed people to subscribe to their platform, and this was hopefully a way that they could make money. So, Discord, an instant messaging and digital distribution platform, tripled its revenue last year with subscription access. The startup, which has shunned advertising, is a favorite of gamers who want to chat while playing online. According to Discord co-founder and CEO Jason Citron, the company believes ads are intrusive and jeopardize users' personal data. Instead, the platform has opted for providing paid services via Nitro, a subscription that offers unique emojis and enhanced video resolution. We really believe we can build products that make Discord more fun and that people will pay for them. It keeps our incentives aligned, he said, adding that users often purchase Nitro subscriptions for the servers they belong to for friends. It's almost like giving your friends a group hug or taking them out to lunch. Now, I think back to, a couple years back where Discord made a very big, bold move. They decided that they were going to provide their own games, and that if you bought Nitro, not only would you be able to help boost servers and sort of make money through that, but you also had access to a handful of games. Well, I say handful, it was more than a handful of games by buying into it, and they incentivized extremely well. It was close to December, and some of my friends in one of my other servers gifted me a subscription to Discord Nitro for a month. So I had access to play some of these games, and it turned out to be way more beneficial than anybody could have expected due to what happened at that time. And I played the crap out of a game called Hob and absolutely loved it. And I was able to finish the game before my Nitro ran out, because once Nitro ran out, it meant that my access to those games would also expire. Now, I felt like they were going to do big things with it, but too many people are very beholden to Steam and to GOG and to Origin and whatever your, digital gaming platform happens to be. And unfortunately, the games that were offered were not enticing enough for people to jump on the bandwagon, which probably means that Discord lost a fair amount of money trying to make that work. Now, what's interesting about this article is one particular section close to the end of it. In December, Discord doubled its valuation to $7 billion after raising $100 million in funding round led by venture capital firm Green Oaks Capital. Overall, the company has raised an estimated $480 million, according to Crunchbase data, though Citron has no plans to go public. That was in December. This article was published March 8th of 2021, so a couple of weeks back, and it was at that point in time that the CEO of the company had no plans to go public. So I find it interesting that, of course, the very next, article I see in this case is Reuters, although Bloomberg was the first sighting of this deal happening, where Microsoft is in talks to buy Discord messaging platform. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has boosted the prospects of gaming companies as people stayed home and turned to video games for entertainment during lockdowns. Discord, which is valued at around $7 billion as of December, is a platform on which users coordinate group activities such as games, discussions, and even virtual parties. Microsoft has been looking to own mass social media platforms, although its last big deal was the $26.2 billion acquisition of LinkedIn in 2016, as it failed in its bid for short video app TikTok's US assets in September of last year. Now, business-wise, this would kind of make sense for Microsoft. You already have Facebook, and you've got Facebook Gaming, which is booming massively. You've already got Instagram, you've already got LinkedIn, but it also means that Microsoft has a shit ton of your personal information. Not that they didn't already, if you consider that your Microsoft account is tied in to your OS if you are on Windows 10, and consider that you might have some of your credit cards, attached to some of that information. It makes you a bit more of a target. But they've also managed to acquire ZeniMax, or it also means that Xbox now has control of Bethesda games, which is great for allowing gamers access to everything that they need to have a really good experience and a really connective experience. But the problem is that we've already seen it happen. They purchased Skype, and the moment they did that, every gamer jumped ship, and that's why Discord became way bigger, was because so many people jumped off Skype because of the way that things were handled. We saw the fall of Mixer after it was owned by Microsoft, and Mixer, as far as I understand, used to be Hitbox TV. Hitbox TV was going to be a potentially good competitor to Twitch, and Microsoft has been trying to solidify their ground in the gaming industry. It would make sense that they would look to buy Discord. But unfortunately, that also means that so many gamers are like, look what you did to other things, and without giving people warning, you screwed up all of our communities. You screwed up Mixer, which meant that a lot of people lost a lot of money out of those partnership deals, things that were promised. I have no idea the specifics, but it's a huge deal. Gamers are not exactly happy with you right now in the grand scheme of things when it comes to you buying something and then sort of moving forward with it. So, I then decided to look a little bit further, and I came across VentureBeat's article. I'll try and go through this quickly. Discord exploring the sale that could be worth more than $10 billion. And this article goes through a number of different things, saying Discord is considered a strategic asset as it connects game companies with their biggest fans in audio and text chat communities. But whether it sells or not will depend on Discord CEO Jason Citron, who will have to decide if the company can better fulfill its mission as part of another company. I know they are in active discussions with a few parties, one source said. The market is in a state where they could command strong double-digit billions of dollars. A spokesperson for Discord said it declined to comment on rumors or speculation. A lot of things could happen that could change the company's plans, but Discord is in play according to our sources. The game market is amok with plans and calculations right now. While Discord has grown dramatically and has more than 140 million monthly active users, it is still in the growth phase and its financials aren't spectacular right now. That means it may be early for the company to try and go public, the source said. The Wall Street Journal reported earlier this month that in 2020, Discord generated $130 million in revenue, up from nearly $45 million in 2019. In that sense, Discord was similar to many other game companies that saw huge gains during the pandemic when everyone was in lockdown. Now, also consider that Discord has expanded. We have video calling now, we have game sharing, we have the ability to add sort of like noise cancellation to your microphones to make the audio quality better, but none of these technologies that they've included in their software is cheap, and the fact that not very many people have really bought into Nitro, considering you only really get some stickers and maybe a banner for your server and like a couple of other small perks, but is it really worth the cost that you put into it? So it may make sense that Discord starts looking for a buyer to increase their profitability, but it is that's maybe going to put it under, because there are so many gamers that don't want to be tossed into ad frenzies. Just look at the backlash that Twitch received when they auto put in ads in the middle of people's streams without permission, without checking to see what types of ads you would like to have shown on your stream or any direction whatsoever from their partners. It's very challenging to keep a free platform moving forward. Now, there are other potential buyers. Microsoft isn't the only one. Amazon is interested, Twitter is interested, perhaps Google. Some game companies are bound to be worried that Discord, which serves critical roles in connecting game studios and publishers with their communities, could be acquired by a party that would only be interested in one of those communities. Microsoft didn't respond to a request for comment, and that is really the crux, is Microsoft doesn't care about the end user. It cares about taking everything they can and making as much profit as possible at the expense of its users. And this is something that many of us gamers have been sort of against this whole time. If you're going to market to us, be smart about it. Don't be assholes. And unfortunately, Microsoft doesn't exactly have a great track record. So if this happens, I'm moving to Guilded. I've already created a server. I've already started working on things. I've already started integrating some stuff, and I'll get that going. And if this deal ends up going through, then I'm not gonna really be in Discord as much, and that's unfortunate because I'm in some great communities there, and it's going to be a challenge to see which ones decide to change over or which ones decide to stay and what ultimately happens. But as it stands, it's only a rumor. So we just have to wait and see and hope to God that this doesn't happen. And that's really all I've got for you guys this week. I hope that you've been enjoying these videos, and I'm sure that next week is going to be very interesting in terms of news. There's lots of stuff going on, and I'm very interested to see what happens from both of these topics that we covered today. So, with that, you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.